My name is Taylor. You do not need to know the rest. I am a field investigator. I document unsolved disappearances in remote regions. In February 2023, a set of case files came across my desk that never should have left state custody. The file labelled North Hollow Forest, Case 317-B. 5 campers, 3 civilian searchers, no survivors. At least, that is what the record says. What you are about to hear is an attempt to reconstruct what happened using the recovered phones, audio, and personal notes. It started with a single set of coordinates. A group of friends went camping that spring, 5 in total. Before they left, one of them, Todd Ramsey, sent a message to a friend back home. Just in case we don't make it back on time, you will know where to send help. At first, the texts were ordinary, morning check-ins, jokes about mosquitoes. Then, something changed. Day 3, 11:40 a.m. Michael's not in his tent. He never came out. Maybe went for a walk. I will keep you posted. Love. After that, garbled text, symbols, half letters, and a photo of the tree line. 6 shadows when there should have only been 5. Eyeshine flickering between the trees. The next day, a voicemail arrived at 3:12 a.m. Todd whispering, "It's back again. It's right back." That is the moment the official timeline stops. 3 days later, a friend of the campers, an experienced hunter, set out to find them. He took 2 others with him, Eli Parker and Rhett Cole. Their journals and recordings form the spine of the case. They found the campsite shredded, tents torn from the inside out, blood sprayed the roots, tracks in the mud, too long for a wolf, too narrow for a bear, spaced like a man walking on his toes. They stayed one night. The recordings capture low, rhythmic breathing outside the tent walls, and a single moment when something presses against the fabric, the outline of a muzzle steaming in the cold. At dawn, the men tried to leave. The GPS spun in circles. By noon, they were back at the same clearing. They never came out again. I read those reports 6 months later. The forest was still closed. Curiosity outweighed good sense. I crossed the chain gate before sunrise, fog thick enough to drink. The air tasted like metallic, like old pennies and pine sap. My compass began drifting almost immediately. Every direction felt north. By late afternoon, I reached what was left of the clearing. The ground still bore the pattern of tents, flattened in rectangles. I found a camera, lens half buried in the moss. When I brushed it clean, the glass was cracked, but warm. And then the phone. It was half dead, screen smeared with mud. When I pressed the power, it came alive long enough to open a single video. Static, then someone running, branches whipping against the lens, breath hitting the mic. Off screen, a scream. The image spins, drops, lands face down in the dirt. 2 heavy steps, and exhale that sounds half animal, half human. Then silence. The phone died in my hands. I should have turned back. Instead, I followed what looked like a drag path, broad swaths through the ferns, leading downhill towards the deeper timber. As daylight faded, the woods went still. No birds, no insects, only the slow thump of my own heartbeat in my ears. At dusk, I reached an open, cut through the trees. A tower stood there, an old fire lookout on rusted stilts, 50 feet high. The ladder creaking as I climb, painstakingly slow, tugging back on each bar to see if it can withstand my weight. Inside, the cabin was dusty, windows cracked, a single chair laid overturned beside a cold stove. From up here, I could see nothing but endless forest in every direction. It should have felt safe. Some time after midnight, the smell changed. Wet fur, rot, something coppery underneath. Then came the scrape, metal against wood, something large moving around the base of the tower. I leaned out of the window with my flashlight, the beam barely reaching the ground. For a second, just a second, I saw it. A shape standing upright, with dark matted fur, its head tilted back, staring back up at me. The eyes caught the light, burning red. It did not run. The flashlight flickers off. No, come on, don't do this, I said, whilst tapping the torch against my hand, when suddenly a flash of the torchlight illuminates a white fuzzy mist as it barely touches the ground below. It is gone. Vanished, shining the torch down, around, frantically scanning. Then I stumbled back from the window, lungs scraping for air that won't come. My hands find the rifle without thinking, muscle memory, not courage. The hatch rattles once below me, then again. Something's down there, something's knocking to come in. My heart's in my throat, pounding so hard it feels like it's trying to escape too. The metal handle is slick under my grip. Sweat or blood, I can't tell anymore. Just look, I whisper to myself. Look and it'll all make sense. I take one breath, then another that comes out as a shiver, and fling the hatch open. The beam stabs into the dark, and there it is, those same eyes, burning red, set deep in shadow. They catch the light like glass, and for half a second, I swear I can see my own reflection in them, small, shaking, already dead. I pull the trigger, the gun kicks back, the sound too loud, too final. The recoil drives pain up my shoulder. The thing only grunts, shoulders rolling like the hit was a shove, not a wound. A sound rises from it, deep, guttural, like an engine idling inside a throat. Steam coils from its nostrils. Then I see the teeth, white, wet, long enough to split me from neck to navel. They glint with threads of saliva that sway as it breathes, each exhale hotter than the air around me. My pulse drowns everything, even thoughts. I don't remember reloading. I just remember the sound of the lever clacking, my fingers shaking so bad I nearly dropped the bullet. Then the eyes narrow. It roars. The sound hits like pressure, not noise. Every bone in my chest rattles. And when it lunges, I don't think, I move. Jaws snapping, scattering its claws, sliding down metal, screeching as it fails to grip, making me grit my teeth from unimaginable sensitivity. Each impact shook the frame, vibrating through my bones. Wood split. The ladder groaned under the weight of something that should not be on two legs. Backing away, rifle in hand, trying to chamber around. Then I stumble, hitting the floor in disbelief as the bullet rolls toward the hatch. And then the door burst inward, sending splinters flying across the room. I slipped my trembling hand into my pocket, pulled out another bullet. Then I dropped it. Thrashing claws piercing through the wood, the hinge screaming as it erratically thrusts itself against what is left remaining of the hatch. I slide my hand back into my pocket, clutch the bullet tight within my grip, trying to pull it out when it becomes stuck between the fabrics of my clothes. I manage to pull it out, hand shaking uncontrollably, trying to slide it into the chamber. It slips in, just as I cut the lever back. Then I see it. The eye. I fired once. The flash lit a wall. A shadow of fur and teeth fade in and out in a blink of an eye. I slowly ease backwards, jaw wide, eyes bulging, trying to take in what is taking place before my very eyes. Then my back presses against the wall, bringing me to my senses. I turn, dig my fingernails into the crusted wooden frame and slung open the window, throwing myself out, crashing onto the cold, solid wooden floor, trying to pick my feet up from under me when my hand latches onto the safety rail. Without thinking twice, I kick my leg up and over while holding onto the beam with my hands, easing my way down until my feet come into contact with the metal rungs. The roar shakes the whole tower. Boards scream, nails pop. I don't think. I throw myself towards the window. The world tilts, metal bites my palms, splinters cut through my sleeves as I slide down the frame. Too fast to care, every rung tears at my hands, skin goes slick, and suddenly there's no grip, just pain and gravity. A crash above, the hatch explodes open. I flinch so hard I nearly let go. The sound isn't like wood breaking, it's like bones snapping. My right hand slips, the rest of me follows, air rushes past my face. I catch a rung with my left hand, so hard I hear something in my wrist crack. For a heartbeat I hung there, legs kicking at empty air. Then I drop the last few feet, land hard enough to feel my teeth rattle, knees screaming, lungs already begging for breath. I run. The word isn't a decision, it's the only thing left in my head. Branches claw at my jacket. One catches my cheek and leaves a hot line of blood that I don't have time to wipe away. Behind me, the tower groans once, like something heavy shifting in its weight. Then, silence. I want to believe it's over. I need to, but the quiet feels too clean, like the pause before the next breath. That is where the official files end. Everything after this is what I found when I went back for proof. The next part isn't in any file. No timestamp, no coordinates, just fragments. The recorder must have kept running after I fell. I don't even remember turning it back on. What you are about to hear isn't a report, it's breathing. Footsteps, the kind of sounds a person makes when they've forgotten they are being listened to. I remember the cold. I remember the dirt in my teeth. I remember thinking, if I just stay still, maybe the forest will forget I'm here. The forest swallows me whole. I don't know how long I've been running. Seconds, hours. The air feels thick enough to chew, and each breath tastes of iron. My legs start to give out before my mind does. They fold without warning, dumping me to my knees in the dirt. The rifle slides from my hands and thuds beside me. I can't tell if I dropped it or if my fingers simply stopped listening. For a long moment, I just sit there, head down, lungs dragging for air. The only sound left is the pulse in my ears, a slow, stubborn drum that won't let me forget I'm still alive. Everything else is quiet, too quiet. Even the insects have the good sense to keep still. I press my palm against the ground, half expecting it to shake with another step, another roar. Nothing, just cold soil and the faint quiver of my own hand. The adrenaline leaks out of me in waves, leaving only the shakes. My teeth chatter, not from cold, but from the echo of what's already gone. When I finally lift my head, the fog has thinned. A thin grey light filters through the trees, not dawn yet, but enough to paint the world in bruises. Somewhere close, water whispers over stones. The sound pulls at me like gravity. I crawl at first, then stumble upright, following it. Every step hurts, but pain feels like proof that I'm not a ghost yet. When the creek appears, black and glassy, I drop beside it. My reflection is a stranger. Wide eyes, mouth slack, streaks of blood on my face. I try to laugh. It comes out as a ragged exhale, half sob, half disbelief. The forest doesn't answer, it just watches. I followed it, a creek winding through the valley floor. Black silt misted the water. Every few yards I found pieces of gear, a torn strap, a boot print that filled slowly with water, a rifle snapped in half like it was a plastic toy. When I reached a bend in the stream, I saw something half buried in the mud. A jacket, inside the pocket, a folded piece of paper, damp but still readable. North Hollow 317-B, return log. If found, tell them it is real. It was signed by Eli Parker, one of the hunters. The ink ended in a long smear. I should have stopped there, but curiosity, that small, dangerous thing, pulled me back toward the tower. By dusk, I reached it again. The air felt wrong, as if the forest were holding its breath. The tower looked smaller in daylight, and the ladder was gone, ripped away, scattered like bones at the base. A strip of the hatch still attached to a single, twisted hinge, creaking as it sways with the breeze. The air inside was colder than outside, thick with the scent of wet fur and rust. Dust floated like ash, undisturbed. Then I saw them, tracks, muddy prints, 5 toes pressed deep, wrong, too long, heels lifted as if something heavy balanced forward on its haunches. Scruffy scratches lay bare on the wooden floor, 5 distinct claw marks scored deep into the side of the lookout tower as if to mark it for memory. And there, in the corner, the phone I had dropped during the fall. As I bent down to pick it up, a cool chill filled the air. No breeze, just a weight in the air, heavy and wrong, pulsing through me like a warning I could not shake. As I touched it, the screen lit up. A new video appears. It was not mine. I hear wind rustling through the trees, soft, steady, almost calming. Then the sound of someone sobbing. Not loud, not dramatic, just small, broken cries from a throat too dry to scream. A voice cracking under the weight of silence, quiet, hopeless, a whisper. If you find this, stay out of the woods. It does not stop when the sun comes up. A scraping sound cuts through the silence, slow, deliberate, like claws testing the edge of glass. A blur of matted fur brushes against the lens. Then an eye, mixed tones of red, a black slitted pupil, wet, curious, primal. I stand frozen, breath caught, trying to digest what I've just witnessed. Then the camera jerks, and you can hear the tower shaking, nails groaning, boards snapping, until the feed ends in static. The file's timestamp was 2 hours in the future. I left the tower and followed the ridgeline north, hoping for a call reception, a road, a sign of anything human. But the forest folded back on itself, paths repeated, landmarks changed, as if the forest played a game I did not understand, each tree waiting for my breath to falter before it moved. The smell of iron mixed with wet dog never faded. At dusk, I saw smoke ahead, a small fire in the clearing. For a moment, I thought it was a rescue. Then I saw the campsite, same tents, same layout, everything as the photo from the first disappearance. Only one difference. 5 shadows moving between the trees, each one wrong in shape, bent, elongated, snout glinting wet in the firelight. I backed away, step by step, and the nearest one turned its head. It was not curiosity this time, it was recognition. The forest came alive behind me, branches breaking, leaves hissing, a sound like 100 claws tearing bark. I do not know how long I ran. My flashlight died somewhere near the creek. I followed the water by touch, hand freezing, knees bruised. Once I looked back, nothing. Then a ripple across the surface, as if something fast had stepped into the stream behind me. I climbed a fallen trunk, hid beneath its roots until dawn. Every few minutes I heard breathing in the mist, slow, patient, as if it already knew where I was and was only waiting for me to move. At first light, I found a service road, and somehow a ranger station beyond it. The man on duty said I looked half dead. I did not argue. I handed over the phone, the paper, everything I found. He promised to log it to all the county offices. When I went back the next week, the tower was gone, cleared, no record of any investigation. Months later, a package arrived at my apartment. No return address. Inside, a flash drive and a note written in the same hand as the AMP journal. You forgot something. The driver